I've got to get the car back on the road. Yes, I know. That's not funny. What about the last case? If you hadn't been so temperamental, we'd have wrapped it up and collected the fattest fee in years. Yeah, temperamental. Yes, Marty, I know. One big case would solve all our problems. Yeah, okay, so divorce isn't your line. I remember the time you'd have jumped at it and taken the sneak pictures. Well, you haven't got to find the rent each week. Look, I don't want a villa in the south of France, but it would be nice not to have to worry about money. So it isn't everything. We seem to spend most of our time waiting.
Well, Cecil?
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I think he's crazy.
My dear Miss Latimer, the man is a saint, a veritable saint.
I mean, what we want to know is whether it's possible. I've had Randall followed for weeks. He does this sort of thing all the time.
It is a perfect example of ethereal participation.
Or mental aberration.
My dear Miss Latimer, it might surprise you to know that hardly a day passes without my having a nice, friendly little chat with some spiritual companion.
How nice for you.
So you think the deceased partner hasn't ceased at all?
Undoubtedly. This isn't the first case, of course. I could quote you examples all day.
Would you be able to sense the presence of this Mr. Hopkirk?
Sense? My dear fellow, I would see him as well as I see you now.
Marvelous. Marvelous.
David, what good is all this?
Simply this, my darling Carol. From now on, the late Mr. Hopkirk is going to be working for us. Naturally. My company is extremely concerned, Mr. Randall. I mean, we've always specialized in giving full insurance cover for precious articles. Well, I mean, 93.4% of our total business is in this field.
And you've been taking a beating lately?
Shockingly so. But you see, the most frustrating part about it is that we know who's actually doing it.
You know?
Well, I should say that we've isolated the place of operations. We have every reason to believe that a gang is using this house. The address is on the back. Well, they're supposedly led by a man who's known as Silky.
Well, in that case, all you have to do is to pass this information on to the police.
Ah, so one would suppose, Mr. Randall, so one would suppose. But the police are not prepared to act on hearsay.
Surely. I mean, all I have to do is send someone down there to question this, Silky character.
No. The police made the briefest of inquiries and then dropped the case for lack of evidence.
I see. And you want me to...
Assist us. Well, unofficially, of course. I understand you have a reputation for obtaining information, no matter how difficult.
Well, we, I have my methods.
Exactly. Now, if you can find out where and when the next raid is going to take place, then we can inform the police.
And they can catch them in the act.
Precisely, Mr. Randall, precisely.
All it really needs is someone in the house.
Well, that's all, nothing else. He would, of course, have to be very carefully hidden, and yet close enough to overhear the plan.
Well, as I said, I have my methods.
I'm sure you have, Mr. Randall.
Oh, just one more thing. The question of my fee.
Oh, no, I'm afraid we can't pay you one.
What?
As chief insurers, we can only authorize a reward when stolen property has been recovered or a theft is prevented. Then the amount is calculated as a percentage of the total.
Oh.
You would have to catch them first. Then we'd be only too delighted to pay you. And I'm sure we shall, Mr. Randall. I'm sure we shall.
Yeah, one moment. I haven't agreed to take this case yet. I mean, I shall have to insist on a fee.
Oh, I'm afraid it's out of the question. But we are talking about 10% of £500,000.
How much did you say?
That's the amount stolen so far this year. £500,000.
A £50,000 reward.
Happy hunting, Mr. Randall.
Yeah.
Well?
It seemed to go perfectly. Provided the ghost wasn't there.
Oh, he wasn't. Take my word for it. Leave Mr. Hopkirk to me.
Marty? Marty! Why is it whenever I need you, you floated off somewhere?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. Oh, something important came up.
No, I didn't mean it was... Morning, Jeannie.
Morning.
Well, what's wrong?
Nothing.
Well, look, if you're not feeling well, love, if you're not up to it, well, don't bother. We're not exactly up to our eyes in work.
No. Or even our ankles.
Well, I'm thinking of taking on a case.
Oh?
Robbery. We act for the insurers.
Do they pay well?
Not exactly.
They don't pay.
On delivery, but it's okay. I know where the gang hide out, so it's just a question of surveillance and then tipping the police off.
I see. A sort of a fly-on-the-wall job.
And don't tell me who the fly is. Let me guess.
He's there.
What?
Jeannie, as you're not feeling yourself today, why don't you take an early lunch?
I've just got here.
Well, exactly. Take a break and get stuck into it this afternoon.
Yeah, I could do that. I could come back and wade into those 2 letters I've got to do.
Right.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, love. Where have you been?
Sorry, Jeff. I'm not feeling very well.
You should have been here. You're what?
I'm sick. I feel terrible. I wish I was dead.
Marty, who ever heard of a ghost dying?
It's the first time for everything.
You always were neurotic. You can't catch anything. It's ridiculous.
Left my tongue line.
Oh, put it away.
I'm not as cold as I should be.
Look, Marty, we've got a chance to get into the top. Insurance, rewards, big rewards.
I can't trace stolen goods, Jeff. I'm not clairvoyant. The throbbing headache I've got, I'm not even psychic.
You don't have to be. Look, just hang around this house. Find out when the gang meet to plan their next job. Jump over to my place, give me the details. 50,000.
50,000?
There you are, you're feeling better already. All you've got to do is be inconspicuous.
You are?
Keep out of sight.
Of who?
The gang who are using this house.
Once through the main door, we use the office carpet to muffle the noise from the safe. Larry will lay the plastic and blow the door. Reg and Pete clean out the safe. Larry will check the window and I'll be by the door. All right, all clear?
Safe's no problem. It's that alarm system that bothers me.
That'll be taken care of, Larry. I guarantee it.
Well, Cecil?
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
But you're sure he is there?
He's been sitting between David and Mr. Larry for the last half hour. Nice young chap. Cut off in his prime, I would say.
What about the door?
Well, the door's all right. It's right now. All right, you ought to have memorized it by now. Any questions?
Yeah. When do we pull the job?
Tomorrow night. It's all laid on. We move in at 1 a.m.
Suits me. And me.
Okay. We meet tomorrow at the usual place.
He's just left.
The house?
Not a vibration for miles, my dear. I should know.
All clear.
Good. Just a minute, gentlemen. There's been a slight change of plan. We go in at 2 o'clock, not 1.
2 o'clock? Why's that?
You were the one who was worried about the alarm system, Larry.
So?
So, at 2 o'clock, it won't be on.
Won't be on? All right, Mr. Alexandra, if you say so.
He has one of the strongest materializations I have ever seen. And his vibrations are marvelous, absolutely marvelous.
I'm glad to hear it.
Danny, you're not going to take his word for it, are you?
My dear Miss Latimer, his vibrations were so strong, they nearly knocked the house down.
Hallelujah.
Not too strong, I hope. I mean, you will be able to handle him.
Oh, yes, that's purely technical.
.30. 30 minutes after 1 a.m.
Well, it's no good looking at me, Inspector. There's nothing wrong with my information.
Then how come I'm sitting here with rigor mortis setting in when I could be back at the yard filling out the charge sheets?
Well, you were keen enough this afternoon.
That was this afternoon. Another 15 minutes, Randall, and I could take a very healthy dislike to you.
I just don't understand it, Inspector. It was all laid on for 1 o'clock.
It's been a long night, Randall, and anything I say is bound to be biased. Why don't you come round to the yard tomorrow so that we can have a nice little talk about your approach to police work and mine?
Well, as a matter of fact, I've got rather a busy day tomorrow, Inspector.
Good. Let's say 11:30. See us out, Johnson, and then switch the alarm system back on.
Back on?
Yes, back on, Randall. We had to get in, you know.
Maybe the gang did too.
With all my men here, do me a favor, Randall. I suppose you better stay here and keep watch all night. Come on, Randall.
Maybe they had an accident. I'm certain it was laid on for 1 o'clock. Where were you last night?
Jeff, must you?
They never turned up. 3 hours with Inspector Large and not even a tap on the window.
I had a terrible night.
You had a bad night. I've had nightmares that were funnier. Well?
I don't know. They must have backed out at the last minute.
We'll get out of that house and find out why. They won't drop a job like that. Maybe it's tonight.
Jeff, I think I'm coming down with something serious.
It's all in the mind, Marty. How can there be anything wrong with you?
But I do look awful, don't I?
Well, you look as pale as a...
I think I need a doctor, Jeff.
And I'll need a lawyer if you don't find out what was wrong. Look, Marty, maybe it's just a passing phase.
Do you think so?
Well, yeah. Why don't you get over the house, keep yourself occupied?
All right. But if I get any worse... Have I gone yet, Jeff?
No, keep trying.
You see, all my strength is gone.
Well, don't worry. We'll get you a doctor. Somehow.
Hello, Jeff.
I don't want to be difficult, love, but it is 11 o'clock. Here.
Thanks.
Jeannie, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. What's up with everyone today?
Oh, Jeff, I just can't go on.
Look, love, all I said was...
Oh, it's not you, Jeff. It's Marty.
Marty? I'm sorry, Jeannie. I thought you got over Marty, well, ages ago.
I can't talk about it. Really, I can't.
Look, I must go. I've got an appointment with Inspector Large. Take the day off. We'll talk about it tomorrow, okay? You sure you'll be all right?
Yes, of course. Sorry.
Hello? Mrs. Hopkirk, how are you this morning?
Oh, much better, thank you. Look, I've been thinking about what you said, and I've decided that I'll help you as much as I can.
Yes, I'm sure it'll be for the best.
Shall we say tonight? All right. Goodbye.
She bought it.
Marvelous.
Sad, but necessary.
Mr. Randall to see you, sir.
Send him in. Bring your pad, Sergeant.
Good morning, Inspector.
Sit down, Randall.
I've been thinking about last night and the way
Name
I...
and address.
Now, wait a minute.
Jeffrey Randall, investigator. His address is on the files. You haven't moved, have you?
No. What's going on?
I must warn you that anything you say will be taken down and may be used in evidence.
Now, look, Inspector, even you can't charge me for trying to prevent a robbery.
True. But I can put you inside for 10 years for planning it.
What?
The offices of Hackley, Mather and Jones were broken into in the early hours of this morning. More than £100,000 in diamonds were stolen.
And you think... I was the one who told you it was going to happen.
At 1 o'clock.
Well, it's not my fault you got tired. You left too early.
All right, Sergeant. Fortunately for you, Randall, your opinion is shared by others in high places.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
In fact, I might even say I'm almost in as much trouble as you.
Me?
Let's look at it this way. Now, I'm not a man to bear a grudge. But if I were, I could make life impossible for you. Couldn't I?
Well, if you're going to be unscrupulous about it, yes.
That's what worries me. You see, I've never had much time for scruples.
Let's not be bitter about this,
Oh,
Inspector.
perish the thought.
Look, we can get this gang.
Really?
I've got someone on the inside. The moment they make their move, I'll let you know.
You'd better.
There were over 300 mink coats in this area at the last count. That's $250,000, gentlemen.
It's too easy.
We're not proud.
Poor boy. Doesn't look at all well.
I'm not surprised.
Fine with me.
Check. Oh, dear, I do hope he doesn't hold it against me.
Never mind about that. Has he been studying the plan?
Oh, yes, intently.
Well, that's everything. I don't want to waste any time. We go in tonight. Midnight.
Midnight, right.
Midnight? That doesn't leave us much time.
Oh, shut up. We don't need much time. Midnight.
He's gone.
Just a minute, gentlemen. Perhaps we do need a little more time. Shall we say, 5 o'clock?
And the alarm? Is that going to be up again?
It might be, Larry. Let's hope so.
Another whiskey, large one. You better make that a glass of water. They're pulling another job tonight.
Are you sure?
I was there when they planned it. They're going to break into the Penguin Storage Company in the East End. $250,000 in mink.
Tonight?
Yeah, midnight. Doesn't give you much time to get the police in.
Oh, don't worry about that. I've got influence there. You better meet me there in about an hour.
I don't feel up to it tonight, Jeff. It took me all my time to get as far as this.
Yeah, you do look a bit rough.
I feel like death. Or whatever it is a ghost feels like.
Do you know what's causing it?
No. Unless I'm passing on.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Marty. You passed on ages ago. How much? 16 and 6.
He wanders lonely in the night, a sad, dejected sight.
I find it so hard. I really can't believe all of this.
Mr. Purley is the grand master of our circle. He's always right.
My dear lady, if we are cranks, we're doing no harm. If we are genuine, we can help your husband.
Marty. A ghost.
Unless you help him.
Oh, I will. Of course I will.
We must ask you not to speak of this to anyone.
Well, what would Jeff Randall say if I were to say that?
Now, if I'm to continue successfully exorcising this troubled spirit, I shall need 1 or 2 articles that belong to him. A watch, perhaps. A keychain.
Well, Jeff has his watch.
Don't you have anything?
I've got some cufflinks.
Admirable. Provided they have retained his vibrations, we can start.
Start what?
Releasing him, my dear. Freeing him from the ties that bind him here. The very least we can do, my dear.
Anything?
No sign of life, sir. Only a milkman a few minutes ago.
But it was all planned. Midnight, all of Thursday.
It's nearly 5 o'clock, Randall.
Yes? Just a minute. For you, sir.
Inspector Large. Yeah. What? What time is this? Yeah. Yes, I've got that. I'll be over right away. So that was your game, was it, Randall?
What was, Inspector?
An old man's store in Oxford Street has just been broken into.
So what's that got to do with this?
All my men tied up here whilst your friends go shopping.
You can't make a charge like that stick, Inspector.
I can try.
Don't be ridiculous.
Let me out, Jenkins, and then switch the alarm back on just to be on the safe side.
You're making a mistake, Inspector. They're moving in here.
You said that before.
Well, I'm going to stay here until the staff arrive anyway.
Suit yourself. You stay with him, Jenkins. I'll see you again, Randall.
So you get these pains simultaneously in the head and stomach?
That's right, Doctor. And this funny sort of sensation in my fingertips.
I see. You're quite sure this bump had no effect?
None at all. I was coming to you before I,
Walked into the door.
That's right.
I see. Very interesting.
You forgot to mention the double vision.
Oh, and the double vision. I forgot to mention that.
Ah. Hey, you cope with it very well.
Well, it's not too bad at the moment.
It's worse than ever. And sick. Tell him I feel sick.
Now, let me see if I've got all this. Mr. Randall, you have these shivers which usually start in the evening and build up during the night. At the same time, you develop severe pains in the head and stomach, and a funny sensation in your fingertips, and not forgetting the double vision, of course.
And the sickness.
We haven't had that one before. When do you feel sick?
Now.
In the mornings, and it builds.
Yes, yes, of course. In the morning. Mr. Randall, you wouldn't by any chance be giving me the symptoms of a friend, would you?
What made you think that, Doctor?
Because although you say you have the symptoms, I find it quite impossible for you to have the cause.
He's a very good doctor, Jeff.
You know what it is, then?
Without any question, Mr. Randall.
He's brilliant. 5 minutes with the wrong patient, he's got it all wrapped up.
Well, that's a relief, Doctor.
Of course, you realize under the circumstances there is very little I can do.
I know. That's the problem.
I admire your spirit.
A genius. An absolute genius.
Good day, Mr. Randall. Oh, allow me.
Thank you.
There we are.
Thank you.
Where?
Good day, Doctor.
Hang on, Jeff. Wait a minute. What have I got? At least tell me what I'm suffering from.
What exactly is the matter, Doctor?
I thought that was obvious.
Oh, what is it?
Is it?
Of course. Your friend is pregnant. About 4 months, I should say.
What? Pregnant? You silly old fool. Do I look pregnant? Jeff, come back. He's a quack. He's a charlatan. He's a lot of old rubbish. Come and tell him. Diagnose that.
But if we don't find out what they're planning, Inspector Large is going to put me in jail and throw the key away. And you're going to get very bored haunting my cell for the next 10 years.
I've been to that house 3 times already.
Just once more, Marty. We're bound to get them, even if it means holding Large at gunpoint all night.
All right.
but I'm no good at night. Not when I start getting the
Pregnancy pains? Hello, Jeannie. What are you looking for?
Oh, nothing.
There's plenty of that on the desk. Try the filing cabinet. That's full of it as well.
I'm sorry.
I was only joking. What do you want, Jeannie?
Well, I want Marty's watch. The one he left you.
What on earth do you want that for?
Jeff.
Oh, what's the matter, love?
I can't talk about it.
If you want the watch, it's yours, love. You know that.
Oh, Jeff, thanks. It's only for tonight.
Huh. You sure you're all right?
Yes, really. An Inspector Large phoned. Wants to see you.
Yeah, he would. How did he sound?
Quite pleasant.
Oh, that's bad. That's very bad.
He inquired about your head. Seemed very sympathetic.
Yeah, he would be. He's got a vested interest in it. He wants to see it mounted. Afternoon, Inspector. I didn't know you were supposed to play with those things.
How do they do it, Randall?
I don't know, Inspector. But we'll get them next time, don't you worry.
What next time?
Is that thing loaded?
Be my guest, it's safer. Tell me, Randall, just who is this inside informant of yours?
I'm afraid I can't reveal my sources, Inspector.
You point the gun and you pull the trigger. If he's been working with the gang, he must know who they are.
Well, he's not working with them exactly. He just knows where they meet.
And where is that?
Don't shoot!
I'm sorry about that, Inspector.
Think nothing of it.
Jeff, they're pulling another job, and we've got them this time.
You haven't told me where the gang meet.
I can do better than that, Inspector. I can tell you where they're going to be.
Not again, Randall. Not with a gun in my hand.
It's tonight at midnight. They're going to take the Manning collection of jade from Hertford Hall.
Look, Inspector, somehow they found out we were setting a trap. But this time I guarantee they won't.
Go on.
You and me, Inspector. No one must even know. We go in at 9 o'clock, they arrive at midnight.
Midnight.
And this time, don't switch off the alarms.
I won't, Randall. Believe me, I won't. And tonight we wait, forever if necessary. Now, where?
The Manning place. They're after the jade collection.
Jade? I must inform Lord Manning.
Well, I suppose that's all right. But he mustn't tell anybody.
Oh, get some practice, eh?
Well, that's that then. If you'll excuse me, I'll go and lie down.
Now, wait a minute, Marty. I don't want any foul-ups on this one. You stay with them all the way to Hertford Hall, and if there's any change of plan, let me know.
Do you know, I can just feel the energy draining away from me.
Well, don't think about it. Look, we'll find some way to plug you in tomorrow.
She should have been here by now.
She'll be here on time.
She might have got cold feet. You know what David said.
Just where is David?
Well, he's out on the job. Surely you know. Oh, it is you, Hopkirk.
What did you say?
I was apologizing, Mr. Hopkirk. I was so deep in this book, I hadn't realized you'd returned.
Let me get this straight. You can see me?
Splendidly, thank you.
And the other times I was here?
Absolutely fascinating. I was dying to have a chat with you.
Were you? But what about all the planning, if you knew I was here?
All for your benefit, I'm afraid. A quite ingenious plan that David Hellingworth worked out. How are you feeling, by the way?
Shocking. But it's not going to stop me from fixing you lot.
It will, you know. You see, I've been concentrating on your case almost every evening lately. The effects for you, I'm sorry to say, are rather painful.
You? All the time It was you!
Well, I am rather an authority, you know.
On what?
Dealing with unwelcome guests.
Well, we'll see about that.
Just a moment.
What?
Before you pop off, Mr. Hopkirk, I would like you to meet my client.
Jeannie! What's she doing here?
How nice of you to come, Mrs. Hopkirk.
Yes, I suppose it has to be done.
What? What's got to be done?
Yes, it has. Did you bring the cufflinks?
Oh, yes. And I managed to get the watch, too.
Excellent.
Look, what's going on here? That's my wife on my watch.
Under the circumstances, I think we'd better leave at once. No use in delaying matters.
Yes, the sooner the better, I suppose.
Delaying what? Look, I'm warning you, keep my wife out of this.
But she is the key to it all, my boy. With your wife and your possessions, it won't be so difficult to exorcise you.
Exercise?
That's right. Sooner or later, you would lead the police to us. Now, we are not greedy, Mr. Hopkirk. The robberies were successful. And if they are to remain so, you must go.
Go?
Go? This is your last night on Earth, Mr. Hopkirk. Bon voyage.
Good evening. I'm Inspector Large, and this is Mr. Randall. Lord Manning is expecting us.
Inspector Large? I trust you have no objection to showing your credentials, huh?
No, of course not. I'm sorry.
Well, there's been some misunderstanding. I was under the impression you arrived over an hour ago.
What? You mean someone's been here?
Well, 3 men, sir. 2 of them claiming to be yourself and Mr. Randall.
Well, where are they now?
Well, they've been with Lord Manning ever since, in the library, sir.
Where's he keep the jade?
In the library, sir.
Come on.
I'm warning you, Pearlie. You better stop now.
Out of the question. You know far too much, even for a ghost.
I know enough to stop you. Either you turn back now, or I'll blow you right out of that seat.
With your wife at the back?
You'll never get away with it. I refuse! I refuse to be exercised!
Mrs. Hopkirk, have you got your husband's watch?
Oh, yes.
May I have it, please?
Yes, of course.
Jeannie, don't. Don't give it to him, Jeannie.
Banish all ye about me.
No. No. Oh. Oh. No. Stop it, Pearlie. Stop it. Oh. Oh.
This is absolutely intolerable, Inspector.
How did they know?
Save your breath, Randall. This time I've got you.
What?
You and I, the only ones you knew. Well, I'm in the clear, but you're under arrest.
That's not very logical, Inspector.
Just try and resist, Randall, that's all. Just try and resist. Now, you stay here. Now, my lord, if you would kindly tell me what time you think the criminals entered the premises?
I can't remember. I've been tied up. What are you going to do about it?
Jeff. Jeff, help.
Marty, you, I'm really in a mess now.
They're exercising me, Jeff.
Who are?
They knew all the time. Jeff. Jeff, I'm going, Jeff. Jeff!
Jeff, help!
Marty? 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 Where are you?
Forget it, Randall. You'll never get away with a plea of insanity.
Inspector, I know how the robberies were done.
And I know you know. You want to make a statement, is that it?
No, no. Oh, you'd never believe me anyway.
How perceptive you are. Come on, let's go.
Marty's grave. They'll be at the cemetery.
Save it for the judge, Randall.
Inspector, you've got to give me a break.
Don't tempt me.
I'm sorry about this, Inspector.
Come on, Cecil, get on with it.
It takes time. The emanations from all concerned must be right.
Well, it's dead wrong for me. I'll tell you that for nothing.
You should relax a little. It's easier that way.
I'll get you for this, Pearlie. If it takes me the rest of my death.
Exactly.
Who's he talking to?
Shh, concentrate.
In the shades of night, on the grave of life, let all ye present draw closer.
Pearlie, will you lay off?
Are we ready?
No! I'm not ready. I want to appeal.
And now we call upon the forces about us to banish this unhappy spirit from our presence.
Over here!
Jeff, what are you doing?
You've been tricked! Stop that girl!
Right! You've got 10 seconds to talk. Otherwise, you'll be shaking hands on my partner.
And there's no one I'd rather shake hands with.
No, don't, please don't. It was Hellingworth. He planned it all. No, he's meeting us here. We are leaving tonight.
What do you think, Marty?
I think he's right, Jeff.
Let him go, Randall! Such a profitable little partnership, wasn't it? It's unfortunate it has to come to an end. You. Such a pity I have to show my gratitude in this way.
Jeff, do something.
You don't think I came here alone, do you? Without telling Inspector Large?
Save your last breath, Randall.
Jeff!
Look out!
Good girl, Jeannie.
I'll take that.
Arrived just in time, eh, Randall?
Oh, it's you. I'm gonna get you, Pearlie. I'm gonna wait for you. I'll give you banish all year about me. Come on, Pearlie. Come on, fight.
Ah, no, stop. Oh, dear. Missed.
Stand still. Let me hit you.
No, Mr. Hopkirk. No, there's no need to. No. Ah, but it's not gentlemen. Gentlemen, you're making a mistake. There's Chef Ivor. He's behind you.
He nearly had me there, Jeff.
You?
He found out. He knew. Everyone will know I'm a ghost.
You're worrying about the wrong thing as usual, Marty. So they tell the police you're a ghost. Who's going to believe them?
My dear chappie,
Come on, sir, come on.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Get in the car, then. Get in.
Why would they go to so much trouble at the cemetery?
An alibi. They needed you for an alibi.
Oh? But how did you find out?
Me? Well, yes. She told you. You told me.
I did? When?
When?
When Jeannie said she needed the watch.
The watch. Marty's watch, remember?
Well, yes, but I only said I wanted it for the night.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But how?
Why else would she need it?
Why else would you need it?
Why, Jeff, I never realized you were such a good detective.
Ha! Thanks.
And all that reward money, too.
Ah, well.
Oh, no reward money.
Well, Inspector Large said he'd give me the benefit of the doubt and assume I wasn't a member of the gang.
Yeah, if you didn't press your claim. Oh, it doesn't seem fair. At least we didn't lose anything.
I suppose that's one way of looking at it.
Oh, it's all my fault, really. How could I be so naive, so stupid as to think that Marty was a ghost?
Yeah. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Say that again.
Say that again.